Hey guys, I'm Danny. Welcome back to Toon Ties Tales. When I was much younger, I always looked forward to night time because my mom would often tell me the most interesting bedtime stories. But while she told me the most amazing stories, my favorite of them all was the one about the rainbow. Legend has it that the rainbow wasn't just set in one place to remind people that the earth would never be destroyed by water, but apparently, if you could succeed in getting to the end of the rainbow, you would find a pot of gold. Unfortunately, not everyone could succeed in getting to the end of the rainbow, because the rainbow could only be discovered when it wants you to discover it. But whenever you find the end of the rainbow, you always find as much gold as the size of the goodness of your heart. But if you have a wicked heart, you might find a penny or two, or the worst case of all, a stone. My mom told me that her forefathers believed that the legends were real, but people's hearts were so corrupt that they didn't even see the rainbow in our times. So, what does that have to do with anything? And why am I ranting out about a pot of gold that I'd never find? Kindly click the like and subscribe button and let's find out. A few months ago, my mom fell sick. We used up all our savings trying to pay for medicine, but she just wasn't getting better. So I offered to help people with their house chores to earn money. I even walked dogs as a side gig, but my earnings were just not enough. Fortunately, my mom's local doctor offered to carry out a super complicated procedure that would guarantee my mom's speedy recovery. Unfortunately, the procedure was going to cost us a bulk load of money, and I was smart enough to realize that my current earnings couldn't foot the bill. Later that night, my mother retold the legend of the rainbow, and I couldn't help but wonder if the legend was actually true. I decided to ask my mom about it, but she smiled at first before telling me that if I believed it was real, it would be real, and if I didn't, it wouldn't. Unknown to my mother, I had started drafting out a plan on how to travel to the end of the rainbow and use the money in paying for my mother's bill. The next day, I told my mother that I had a gig that would take a lot of time and I might not make it back in time. I stored enough food to last her for 3 days and headed out on my journey. I had no idea where I was walking to or what I planned on doing, but I knew that I had to find the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow that was yet to be seen. As I walked aimlessly for hours, I saw an old woman carrying heavy luggage. I decided to abandon my mission for a while and rushed over to her side to help her out with the luggage. On getting to her house, the old woman thanked me profusely and convinced me to have a cup of coffee. But after taking a few sips of the coffee, I fell asleep. While sleeping, I had a dream where a young lady who looked very much like the old lady that had offered me a cup of coffee appeared to me. She told me that she is a fairy and she had watched me while I shared my leftover lunch with a stray dog. And besides, she had also gotten a first-hand experience of my kindness. The fairy assured me that the legend of the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow was real, and she had promised herself never to reveal it to a human, because the wealth acquired was often used for evil deeds, where she believed that someone that was actually worthy of finding the pot of gold had appeared, and she would guide me path. A few moments later, I woke up in the forest by the side of the road, but the bright ray of the sun was blocking my eyesight. Danny, hold on for a second. That's no sunlight. Is that a rainbow? I walked alongside the rainbow trail for hours with little hope for what lay ahead. I realized that the rainbow trail was getting lower and lower, and I followed it for as long as I could. I made a brief stop to flick off the persistent bloody hungry flies when I suddenly noticed a huge clay pot beside what seemed to be a rainbow. Upon reaching the pot, I opened it and was shocked to find rectangular cut pieces of gold in the pot. Right when I was considering telling the local authorities about the mystery pot, the fairy from my dreams appeared to me and told me that the riches within the pot were mine. She told me that an act of kindness always attracts a greater good. She also told me to continue showing kindness to others as it would help in making the world a better place. The fairy instructed me to carry the pot and lightly tapped my shoulders with her wand. To my surprise, I found myself right in front of my home and walked to my mother, who hugged me and told me of how she had slept the previous night and had a dream where she saw a fairy who told her that I was in safe hands. Her ailment had also mysteriously disappeared. My mother and I used the gold from the pot to set up a franchise that donated a certain percentage of its profits to the poor. While I have absolutely no recollection of the road I followed to the end of the rainbow, the fairy's voice still rings in my head to date, as I am now aware that no act of kindness is too little and every little action goes a long way. That's all on today's video. Thank you for watching. If you love this video, please like, drop your comment below and subscribe to our channel and share. God bless you.
People hate me because I'm ugly. Hi, I'm Sophia. Ever since I was a kid, I have always known that I wasn't half as good looking as my peers. While I happen to be the only female child of my parents, I am also the younger sister to two tall and handsome-looking hunks who happen to be two of the most popular kids in school. The first time someone told me I was ugly, I was an 8-year-old 4th grader, and this obnoxious boy named Caleb had literally walked up to me and casually told me I was ugly. Being the innocent, happy-go-lucky kid, I thought I couldn't possibly have heard him right, so I decided to ask him what he said. And this time, he yelled it out so loud that the entire class started laughing. At that moment, I wished the ground could just open up and swallow me whole. But instead, my cute, ugly, shiny little eyeballs decided to release a torrent of water. But that wasn't even the worst part of it all. I actually walked up to my teacher and reported Caleb to him, but I definitely saw him trying to hold back his laughter before telling me sorry and patting my head awkwardly. Of course, Caleb was never punished for his senseless outburst, cause hey, Caleb's old man was one of school's biggest fundraiser. But hey, I was an 8-year-old kid. Of course, I didn't know about the fact. The first thing I did was let down my ponytail and try to cover my face with my hair. When I got back home, my mom was so shocked by my different appearance that she called me aside to ask what happened. I asked her if I was ugly, and she gasped before shifting her gaze downwards and looking back at me. She had a sad look in her eyes and she told me that I was the prettiest little girl on earth. But I couldn't believe her. How could I? Why would anyone call me ugly if I was the prettiest little girl on earth? And why did other kids avoid me like I had some contagious disease? As I grew older, my hair grew longer and covered my face more easily. I also learned to hide behind a face cap and a hoodie. But things didn't exactly get easier. In freshman year, the other girls avoided me like a flea. But as soon as they all realized that my brother were two of the tallest and most handsome-looking jocks in school, they started inviting me to hang out. At first, I thought they were finally including me in their circle, but eventually they started asking me questions about my brothers. Some even asked me if I could introduce them to my brothers, and at first I would oblige. But I suddenly realized that they cared less about me and more about my brothers, so I stopped hanging out around them and burying my head deep in books. No one really came to see anything about my facial appearance in high school, either because I didn't allow them to get a glimpse of my face, or because they were way too scared or intrigued by my elder brothers, Josh and Jason, being the overprotective brothers that they had kept the bullies from taunting me. They would even try to include me in their social circle, but I had refused. I mean, who was I kidding? It would only get me mixed up with the girls who were only interested in being introduced to my brothers anyway. My face, which remained hidden by my long hair, dark glasses, and a face cap or hoodie, or both, still attracted weird stares from the students in the hallway, but no one said a thing. My family was finally getting accustomed to who I truly was. And things would have gone that way forever until this new girl named Cassie transferred to my high school. She was cool in her own way and confident in her own skin. The popular girls had tried inviting her to their table at lunch, but she had politely declined. When my brothers were intrigued by her, and everyone wanted to be friends with her, but I stayed in my lane. This is why I was surprised when she walked up to me one afternoon and suddenly asked if we could be friends. I was so stunned that my jaw dropped open and snapped shut. She laughed at this and asked me one more time, but I said no. She looked shocked and sad to hear this. But just before she turned back, I asked her why. She told me that she liked that I was different, and I said okay. To the surprise of everyone, 𝗪𝗁 and I became the closest of friends, and she would often visit me at home. Things were going pretty well until 𝗪𝗁 uncovered my face a few months later. I had managed to keep her away from doing that for a long time, but I finally decided to give in. She gasped and suddenly asked why I always covered my face. I opened up to 𝗪𝗁 about my insecurities, and she got so angry she even threatened to find Caleb and beat him to a pulp. She told me I was the true definition of beauty shining from within, and that everyone was beautiful in their own way. She also promised to help me in my journey towards self-confidence. And the next day, everyone was surprised when I arrived at school without my usual get-up. At first, they thought I was a transfer student until the gossip mongers decided to spread the truth about my identity. As the time went by, the cool kids started trying to invite me to sit with them, but I refused politely. I realized that I would have turned out differently or probably have a despicable personality if I had always known that I was beautiful. But if there's one thing 𝗪𝗁 has taught me, it's that true beauty comes from within. You might be the prettiest person in any room in terms of beauty standards, but if you have a bad personality, you are unattractive. Plus, a lot of people struggle with self-confidence, so I made a promise to help others to be more confident in their own skin by becoming a therapist, because it doesn't matter what you look like or your economic or cultural background. Everyone is beautiful in their own way, and we all deserve to know that. Hello everyone, welcome to 𝗪𝗏 Tales. Don't forget to click the like and subscribe button if you enjoyed this video. Also check out our channel for more inspiring and entertaining content.